Good afternoon. I'm Todd Duplantis. Welcome to The Topic, where we highlight Houston Community College, our students, our programs, and our reach into the community. Well, I want to thank you for joining us this Thursday afternoon. We're live at HCC TV, and we're here every Thursday afternoon, live at 1 p.m. on Facebook and our YouTube channel. Grants are an important source of funding for Houston Community College. This year, we'll keep you up to date on some groundbreaking projects and initiatives at HCC funded by grants. In January, we're looking at the Houston Minority Business Development Agency, and we're joined right now by Director Marshette Turner. Welcome to the show, Marshette.
Thank you so much, Todd. Good to be back.
Yeah, so I want to hear, let's first, why don't you tell everyone about the mission of Houston MBDA.
Absolutely. So our mission is to foster growth and global competitiveness of businesses in the United States owned and facilitated by minorities. And so we facilitate transactions, business consulting, and matching MBEs to contract opportunities.
And give us an overview of how grants support your mission in the MBDA.
Well, of course, we are grant funded by the United States Department of Commerce, and without it, we wouldn't be here, right? We would not exist. So this funding for us is critical. And so that's one of the reasons that we were so excited when President Biden's administration announced that the MBDA is now a permanent agency in accordance with the infrastructure deal of 2022. There are more than 9 million minority-owned businesses around the nation, and this legislation allows us to increase our programming and outreach to those MBEs.
So let's look at some of your programs from last year. Maybe you can start off. I know you had a Salute Gala celebration.
Well, the gala celebration is coming up this year. That's new. Okay. But last year, we did have our Salute to Minorities in Construction luncheon. So it's been a luncheon for the last 9 years. And because we've outgrown the space, I decided to transition it into a formal evening gala, of which Mr. Greg Reyes is our chairman. So, but that's coming up June 21st. 2024, and it will be at the Norris Centers. So I will definitely give you more information on that. But last year, our Salute to Minorities in Construction luncheon, that is where Mr. Ed Melton was honored and greatly celebrated for the work that he does, not just in his business, but also for being a client of ours and the contracts he gives us so that we can input into our government system. So it was a great, great success. Of course, we were crammed in like sardines because, again, we've outgrown the space, but nonetheless, it was a phenomenal event.
How have you grown over the past few years? It sounds like you guys, business is really booming for you. Maybe you can talk about your growth over the past few years and how did the pandemic affect things?
Actually, you know what? Our growth has been exponential, to answer that question. But the pandemic, I think what it did was to draw people in more. We have webinars that we started during the pandemic, of course, and even still, 3 years later, we are still boasting over 200 people for any given webinar, like our Subs and Sandwiches platform.
Yeah.
We have one coming up on Wednesday, January 17th. And when I tell you, we just started advertising it on Monday. And as of this morning, we already have 97 people registered. So it just goes to give you an idea of how people are drawn to, number one, good information and good programming. But number two, these are MBEs who are logging on to get the information from our corporate partners as to how they can do business together.
Do you do a combination of virtual and in-person now? Is that how you guys are you finding more success with the virtual?
We do both, but we do have several members who say, look, let's just keep it virtual. I love the virtual aspect of it. We have a larger audience if it's virtual in many instances. And so we do a combination of both, but with our Subs and Sandwiches, it's whatever our corporate partner desires it to be. We do have one person requested that it be in person this year, and the rest have remained virtual. But yes, we definitely have in-person events.
I know you were talking about the success of the webinars. You have a Women in Construction webinar series coming up. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
So we did the first cohort last year and it ended in November. It was a 6-week program and we had some amazing women in the construction industry who spoke to other women in the industry or trying to get into the industry about the ebbs and flows, if you will, the ins and outs and how women are viewed in the construction industry. So it worked really well for us, so much so that we are planning now our second cohort that will start in March. So we are really gearing up for more programming, more webinars. Now, with the Women in Construction that you spoke of, it was virtual. The very last session was in person. And with the in-person session, we still ended up with 80 people attending that in-person session.
Wow, that's pretty good. I mean, it's a testament to what you guys are doing, because I know we always on Up to the Minute we're advertising your subs and sandwiches series, and I was thinking, well, when they do it virtual, people are going to still want the subs and sandwiches. You know, one of these days they're going to come back and get those subs and sandwiches.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and like I said, one person did say, "Hey, I want to actually have a sub or sandwich." So let's do it in person this year. So it will be in person for one of our corporate partners, but the rest have said, "Look, I like it virtual. It makes a difference for us." And when it's virtual, our attendees have the ability to type questions into the chat. So many times the corporate partners are literally reading the questions and formulating their answers for that Q&A period. So it really bodes well for them.
And so they do get, even with it being virtual, they do get that interactive component with the speakers or the presenters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And many times, if it's a certain person who's asking a lot of great questions in the chat, the corporate partner will say, "Hey, I'm going to put my information in the chat. Give me a call or send me an email. Let's talk about it because I like what you're talking about and I like your energy and that kind of thing." And so it bodes well because now you have that personal connection with the corporate partner.
Recently you had, is it Med Week, the 40th anniversary in Baltimore?
Yes. Yes. So the Minority Business Development Agency partnered with the National Minority Supplier Development Council in Baltimore. And of course, we wanted to accelerate minority business growth, right? So bringing those two agencies together in Baltimore made a huge difference. And again, I'm bringing up Greg again, but during Med Week in Baltimore, Greg Reyes was honored as our Client of the Year for the Houston MBDA, and it was a phenomenal celebration.
We've been talking with Houston Minority Business Development Agency Director Marshette Turner here on the topic about grant funding here available for people who work with HCC. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon, Marshette. We wish you the best of luck, and let us know when you get that in-person subs and sandwiches event, because we'll definitely advertise that on Up to the Minute in the morning for you.
I sure will. Thank you so much, Todd.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll meet the first of 2 local entrepreneurs from the Houston MBDA. The topic returns in 60 seconds.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
For more than a year, we have kept you informed with more than 500 remote episodes. But now we're back, bigger and better, with more news and more guests. Join us live every weekday at 10 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube, and on HCC TV at noon and 5 p.m. You can watch from anywhere. We go where you go. Welcome back to The Topic. I'm Todd Duplantis, and we are live at the HCC TV studio this afternoon. And we're here every Thursday, live at 1 p.m. We're talking this afternoon about grants and looking at our Houston Minority Business Development Agency. Right now, we're joined by Ed Melton, who is the CEO of Seventh Echelon. Ed, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
Let's start off by maybe you can give us a bit about Seventh Echelon, what your organization's all about.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. First off, I want to say thank you to, hosting us on your show. And I also want to tell Marshette, thank you very much for being supportive of us as always. We've been around since 2016. We do program and project management for the federal government, as well as the state and local government here in Houston. We typically focus on information technology, operational excellence, just typical management consulting, but we also have an operations side. We do administrative processing, any type of outsourcing work as well.
Who are some of the clients you guys have worked with?
USDA, City of Houston, Harris County, Houston Independent School District. So some of the great clients here in Houston and customers here in Houston. So we've done work around those areas. On the commercial side, Jones Lang LaSalle, BDO, Boston Consulting Group, Keolis Transportation. So we've done quite a bit of work around.
And is it primarily project management of construction projects, or do you guys handle other projects besides that?
Bricks and clicks. We do construction and IT. So we don't shy away from either one.
Oh, and IT as well?
Absolutely. Wow. We do a lot of work around information technology. Right now, we're doing one of the signature programs with a federal client around artificial intelligence. So that's extremely exciting for a firm like ours.
Yeah, it is. It's AI has really blossomed over the last year. We've got a bachelor's degree that HCC is offering in AI. It's one of our first inaugural or 4-year degrees that we're offering. Maybe you can tell us a bit about how long you've been a member of the MBDA and how it's kind of helped you grow in your business.
Well, sure, I can talk about that all day. I dragged my sorry self into the MBDA back in 2017, did not know what to do, and I got a chance to sit across from this wonderful gentleman who's now left and retired by the name of Mark Craig. And he sat me down and read me the Riot Act and told me, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to tighten up. If you're going to be serious, be competitive. Don't waste our time, because there's a lot of people out here that are interested in coming in right behind you to be successful. So after that, I followed directions very intently. I went to all the programs I was told. And it's just been a great ride since then. All the certification assistance, everything from, I can't tell. I can talk all day about the support, but I think I answered Jack's question.
And it helped you scale your business. And how much has your business grown since you've been involved with the MBDA?
Oh, so we started out at a negative $18,000 the first year. And after MBDA's engagement, the next year was around 160. And the year after that was about 400K, and then after that, we grew into the millions along the way. And just because of the MBDA and other organizations that have been extremely supportive.
And you've also been recognized from the Houston MBDA. Maybe you can tell us about that.
2 times around, actually. It's been a true blessing, because in 2019, I was recognized, or Seventh Echelon and the team was recognized as the Trailblazer of the Year out the gate. And that was a shock. We weren't expecting that. And then I just wanted to pay it forward, and I made sure that Marshette and the team and everybody else really got the spotlight on helping us out and being able to say, hey, if it was not because of the coaching and the input and this grant that was given, we wouldn't be successful today. So that led to us being the 2023 Client of the Year. Because every time we get an opportunity, we're like, hey, I need some help, Deidre, Marshette. What do we need to do? How do we make this work? What are the pitfalls we need to dodge? Because those are out there for a small business, and we want to make sure we dodge those as much as possible. Any questions around insurance, recertification, types of certification, what's your forecast like? Very, very straightforward, solid help. Owe a great deal of our success to the MBDA.
Obviously you started your business in 2016. We're on to 2024 now. You made it through the pandemic. Did you have to pivot your operations, and how much of a challenge was that during the years when we were all working at home?
That was a relatively easy shift. I grew up in the management consulting firms, Ernst & Young, PwC. So we were typically ready to work wherever the client needed us to be, whether it be on site or off. And we typically gravitate toward those type of folks. So it was actually an easy transition for us, and the support we got from the MBDA on how to make those transitions. The biggest challenge we had, and I remember some specific counsel we got from them around dealing with the vaccination requests from the federal government, because we really didn't know what to do. That became a very strong sticking point of people having to get a vaccination, whether you're on site or off. And we turned to MBDA and said, hey, how do we do this? And it worked out really well in our favor for that. So we made a solid pivot. We actually grew during the pandemic, unlike some of my colleagues. Again, we're blessed that we made it through, and we were thankful of all the help and support that we got.
What would be some words of advice you'd give others out there, other small businesses that may be struggling now, or just looking at the MBDA? What would you give them?
There's no stupid questions. Fear will keep you away from places like the MBDA because, well, I have to have everything together. I have to make sure these things are buttoned up. No, that's what they're here to help you for. You don't have to have all the answers. So when I say I literally drug in there and set my pride aside and laid everything out and got on the right path, it's because of that. So I would say don't shy away from asking for help. That's what they're there to do, and they're very intentional about it. Unlike some organizations, I'll say they look at you more of a family, and they check in, not just to check in and see how business is going. Everything around my daughter being born, things I've gone through personally, the team has checked in on me. So they really look out for people because they look at the whole business, not just the person running it. So that's what I would say. Welcome, join, come to the family. That's what I would advise them to do.
Does that keep you engaged with the MBDA and being able to inspire others and being a lifelong learner?
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of paying it forward. I was given the opportunity to do the cybersecurity summit because we do information security as well with the MBDA. We were invited to do that and encourage other people. This is how you do your cyber hygiene. This is how you stay engaged. So I'm a big fan of, if somebody gives it to you, you should pay it forward, because the only way we can all move forward, we have to lift as we climb. You can't leave people behind, so you have to pay it forward.
Ed Melton is the CEO of 7th Echelon. Ed, we wish you continued success. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, we're talking about grants. Next up, we're going to meet another entrepreneur. I'm Todd Duplantis, and the topic returns in 60 seconds.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
Welcome back to The Topic. I'm Todd Duplantis, live at HCC TV. We're here every Thursday, 1 p.m., or I should say 2 p.m. 1 p.m. was our old time, 2 p.m., and we're live from the studios. Today's topic, we're talking about grants and looking at our Houston Minority Business Development Agency. Greg T. Reyes is the CEO of Raytech Construction Resources, Inc., and he's joining us this afternoon. Greg, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it.
Maybe you can start off by giving us an introduction to Raytech Construction.
Well, first, let me just thank Marshette and her staff at the MBDA office here in Houston. I can't tell you how much we appreciate all they do for us. We are a public infrastructure company. We've been in business for 27 years, going on 28. Next month, as a matter of fact, is our 28th anniversary. We build roads, bridges, underground utilities, water plants, wastewater treatment plants. And we also have a very large group that repairs large diameter, small diameter water lines all over the city of Houston. A company that pretty much started out of my home back in 1996.
And you've been in business for many years. What brought you to the Houston MBDA, and how has it affected your business?
Well, yeah, sure. A great deal. I started out as a certified minority-owned company and worked for about 9 years in that space as a certified minority-owned company. And in 2011, we were fortunate enough to graduate. It was bittersweet. But it was time for us to move on and grow as a prime contractor, and so we depended greatly on that community, and we have a huge community in Houston that supports our minority businesses. And I met a gentleman by the name of Mark Prague back 16 years ago. And started working with Mark. And again, Mark is same way, lined us out on how to get certified and how to get in with the different agencies. And he was our small business coach. And I look at the MBDA as small business coaches. They provide an array of things. And for that, we were able to get into marketplaces that typically, I don't think I'd ever gotten into it had not been for MBDA saying, listen, you can do it and here's how you can do it. And they didn't just point us in that direction, they walked us through those steps. And so for us, that was huge in our growth. We've grown every year since we've been in business. And that kind of assistance is priceless when you're trying to grow a small business. Right. And being minority and being in the contracting business, where you're not an outsider, but you're not in with the industry, and so you have to work real hard to get in it. And MBDA, Mark helped us tremendously with that. And without that, I don't think we would be here today, quite frankly.
How many employees do you have at your company now? And I mean, you said you've grown every year.
Yeah. So we have roughly 400 employees. It moves up and down. Depending on the volume of work. We started our first year of business. We did $250,000, and I thought we had set the world on fire. And today we're well over in the $150+ million range. Wow! On an annual basis, we're projected to grow this year to over 200. We're a very diverse company, though, and we're very people-centric. We're real strong on culture and growing that culture within our community, because within our company, because I'm the face, but the true success in this business are all of our associates and employees and who work really hard every day, and we build stuff, and right. we do the tough work. It's heavy lifting. It is on the construction side. We actually build a lot of our finished product with our own people and our own equipment and materials. So an extremely challenging business, very capital intense. But again, And the way MBDA helps us today is phenomenal, because now we are the prime and we're required to use minority contractors, small business, and we love that. And we do about 30% of our business with minorities and stuff. And MBDA has helped us with those subcontractors and getting them certified and coaching them. One of the biggest challenges in the industry today for small business is access to capital. And MBDA does an excellent job of pointing people, not just in the small business construction industry, but in the small business industry, whether you're making widgets or you're building roads or buildings. They've been able to assist our subcontractors and many others in that region. I love that about that organization. MBDA is just is a gem for our small business community.
What advice would you give small business owners who are struggling right now to get the best out of the MBDA? What would you tell them?
Well, I would say get down there as quick as you can. If you haven't, don't be intimidated by that at all. It is probably one of the smartest things you will ever do to help your business grow. And like Ed referred to, they're not going to point you in the same direction. They're going to walk you through and get you into where you need to get to be able to get your business to a point where it gets actual contracts. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, they've got to get and go and be there.
We've been talking with Greg T. Reyes. He is the CEO of Raytech Construction Resources, also works with the Houston MBDA. Greg, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Wishing you continued success, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Todd.
All right. That's going to wrap up this week's show. If you have any questions about the topic we discussed today, grant funding, the Houston MBDA, we'll have all the information and pertinent links in the post after the show. Thanks for joining us on the topic. For more information, you can download audio versions of our show at hccs.edu/podcasts. For the topic on HCC TV, I'm Todd Duplantis. See you next week.
When the last bell rings, don't stress about what comes next. At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. From healthcare to tech, or business to the arts. Open the door to HCC Real World Education, where passions become careers. Find more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.